Welcome to Deep Thought. Are your habits serving you? Are your habits serving you? You know what? I'm going to tell you what. One of the key things to success in life or just living life are your habits. You know? Like you can say you want $1 million. You can say you want a happy relationship. You can say you want a peace of mind, right? But are your habits congruent with those things? Like if your habit is to sit around and just watch TV all day or not do anything productive, is that serving you in your quest to make $1 million? Or if you in the habit of being on the phone all day and talking with some people when you're not working, or sometimes even while you're working, right? Even while you working, shoot, you go on some of these jobs and stuff. It could be you could see people they supposed to be serving you, but they carrying on a conversation on their phones or a texting conversation and everything. Got their phones right there, or something like that. It could be servers. I've seen servers in restaurants do that, right? You know, well, except in some of those restaurants where the badge is like, "Don't you better have that phone anywhere near you." But is that serving you, right? Or if you in a trying to like find that right relationship, right? You know, do you have habits that are going to help you? You know, you might have the habit of finding something wrong with every person that you come across. Is that helping you find a happy relationship instead of finding what's right? Right? Is that serving you? Like it could be in anything. See, understand, to succeed in any area of life, you got to have the right habits. Like what's your work ethic? Like getting back to the whole success thing. Okay, you want $1 million. What's your work ethic? Right? You know, are you a slacker? You know, or are you that person who goes the extra mile? Right? You know, are you that type who, want to stay working, stay busy? Or are you that type who finds shortcuts or something, or you try to find ways not to work? Right? Is that serving you? Like, that's the thing. That's the thing. Because, to any type of success in life requires some consistency. But consistency is a habit. Right? Consistency is a habit. Right? And also, too, okay, like I talked about success. I talked about, financial success, relationships. But what about just a peace of mind? Are your habits serving you in that thing? Are you that type who always has anxiety over something and you're pessimistic? You always try to you always automatically focus on what could go wrong. Is that habit like serving you? Like some people will look for it. They could have everything going well, and then by habit, they always start looking for what could be, what could go wrong. They were like, oh man, I got all this money coming in, people showing, oh man, I better look for the bad thing. That's a habit, right? Or, another thing is just your habit could be always looking for the drama. And it's like, wait a minute, you're looking for peace in life, but you by habit always look for drama. You find some situation, some friends of yours going through a situation, and instead of thinking, oh, let's figure out how to solve this, you like, man, let's do this. Like I knew somebody, they always started some stuff, right? Can't figure out why people don't like her. There's a young lady in a social circle I've been in, right? Can't figure out, because I talked to some people from that social circle, they say people still don't like her, right? But she was always a person who had a habit of starting shit. She always started something. That habit wasn't serving her. See, when you're going through life and you're trying to figure out like I say, it could be whatever that you want. You got to think about your habits, right? Like even myself, I'm going to use myself as an example. Understand something. I'm going to reiterate this. I know a lot of people like to hear what I'm saying, comment. I get positive feedback 97% of the time, right? 97% of the time I get positive feedback, right? But even myself, to improve, I had to check some habits, right? Now, I mentioned, I'm give you an example, right? Now, I've mentioned publicly, like right now, I'm totally self-employed, right? Got total control of my time, but I say maybe about 3 years ago, I still worked a full-time job, right? I still worked a full-time job. And I developed some habits working that full-time job that, I mean, they were all right for the job, but I had to slowly change them when I stopped working full-time. Like, one of my habits I developed, like when I had days off, I watched certain TV shows. Yeah, TV watching, too much TV watching is a bad habit if you got work to do, right? You know, I used to watch the court shows, still do, not as much as I used to, like particularly like the ones dealing with relationships, and also Maury, right? I used to watch Maury because that's a relationship thing, right? I could say that's a professional thing I did, but you know, one thing I started noticing, and this is when I first started, working for myself, I was like, you know what? The time I spend watching this stuff, even though it's related to what I do, I could be doing something else productive, right? But I had to slowly break the habit. It became a habit, right? And even like the time I would take lunch, and that's a habit I'm still working at, right? I'm used to taking lunch at a certain time, a routine. But then I started saying, well, wait a minute, I could be doing something during this time. And I would take it at a certain time, you know, to watch certain TV shows. But as a habit, it wasn't serving me. It wasn't serving me. And when I started to break that habit, I noticed all of a sudden I had more time to do stuff. Now, at first, when I first started on, YouTube, I was making a good amount. But then as I started breaking some of the habits of what I was doing with my free time, all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, I got more free time now. Wait a minute, I can work on this. I got time to work on this project. I can do videos. I can start a new channel here. All of a sudden, boom. Right? And it's tough. Like I said, that's why I was using myself as an example, because it's easy to break into a habit even if it's relatively benign. Right? It could be not a decent, taking some time out, relaxing, maybe watching something. That's not a bad thing. But if it's interfering with other stuff I could be doing, I was like, okay, I got to change this. All right. If I'm trying to make a certain amount of money, it was like, okay, where can I find the time? Okay, I got to break the habit. I can't do this or that. Or if you got, say you have a weight loss goal, but your habit is to eat a certain amount of, eat at a certain place, right? Or eat a certain amount of calories a day. You go into those fancy restaurants and stuff, right? Had to break that habit. Because, since last year, I've lost a lot of weight because, prosperity was good to me. So I put on some, all right? So I was eating at, I was eating at, restaurants every day, all right? Good meals and stuff. But I was just like, this ain't serving me. And so I started changing that habit, right? And you got to ask yourself, what habit are you doing that you could change? All right. And some habits are hard to break, but it's usually you can break a habit. They say you can break a habit if you do something for 21 days, you can break the habit or establish a habit, right? And that's another thing too. Well, 21 days you can break a habit or establish one, and then 90 days it becomes a lifestyle, right? And that's another thing. A habit can serve you. If you have the habit of working out a certain time every day, or if you, like, say you're a writer, writing at a certain time every day, that actually serves you. That actually serves you, right? So that's the question. You got to ask yourself, are your habits serving you? Some will and some don't. Now, I talked about some of my negative habits, right, that I thought were negative. They really weren't, but they were. But then I got to talk about some other ones. One of my habits is I do have a work ethic. I do. If I sit down, I usually if I'm not doing something extra, I'm that type. I could work 3 jobs or something easily. In fact, that work ethic actually helped me when I was working full time, because then I was also putting a lot of time into doing videos, working on books and everything, right? those habits, the work ethic, that was a good habit. So you can also have good ones. So you have to look at your habits. Which ones are good? Which ones are bad? The good ones, keep it up. Maybe even like expand them. The bad ones, slowly. And it's tough. It's tough. You can't go cold turkey because your body's used to doing something. Like my body got used to eating at a certain time every day and eating a certain amount. So you got to just gradually break it. So anyway, right? That's all I got for now. Ask yourself, are those habits helping you? Are they serving you? Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and blessings.